truly believe in the magic.
What's up, Magic fans? I'm Mikey, and welcome back to another episode of Penny for Your Thoughts, the Orlando Magic UK podcast. Unfortunately, this week we aren't joined by our friend from the Valleys, Geraint. He's on dad duty, but as always, I'm joined by Mr. Calamity himself. Paul, how are you, mate? Good evening.
Very well, my friend. Very well. Calamity free. All good here. All good here.
Calamity free. I'm doing well, mate. In fact, I'm doing very well because I got in earlier and managed to watch the last 20 minutes of Liverpool to see Divock Origi smashing a 94th minute winner for the Reds. So I'm a happy boy today.
Good man. Good man. 2:00 tomorrow for us boys.
Who have you got today? Tomorrow?
I knew you were going to ask me that. It's gone out of my head, mate. I know we play at 2:00. That's all I need to know.
Fair enough. Good
so
stuff.
as long as I'm there.
Never mind. In fact, we play Leeds soon, don't we? We must be coming up to it soon.
Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah.
So yeah. Got that to look forward to very soon. So, unfortunately...
Hopefully, mate, being at Ellen Road, we might do a little bit better.
You've been found out a little bit this season, haven't you?
Injuries have played... It seems to be a common thread with my teams. Injuries have played a huge part, mate. We've had the spine of the team absolutely ripped out this season. When we don't carry the sort of squad numbers that they do at Anfield, but when you've got your three forwards all missing, you're not going to do a deal, are you? But it's coming, it's getting there. Okay. We will survive, and that's the main thing.
Good lad.
It's all good.
Absolutely. So as we said, G isn't with us this evening, but we are recording next week, so he'll be back with us with our special guest next week, which we'll let you know later in the show. There's not really a lot of news to talk about other than recapping the games. We're going to do a slightly shorter episode tonight and just sort of keep things up to date with what's been happening this week. So going through the injuries, there's no real news update since last week on Marco Fultz, Jonathan Isaac, Etwan Moore, and Michael Carter-Williams. They all remain out at the moment. I think we're all slightly anticipating Fultz might be back very shortly. I don't know if he's travelled on this West Coast road trip. I don't think we've seen him, so we might have to wait till we go back home to play the Hawks.
There was an indication, wasn't there, a few weeks ago that we'd heard that he could be around Thanksgiving time. Obviously, we're a little bit beyond that now, but it's got to be getting close. It's getting close.
Yeah. And then the only other update really was Jalen Suggs, who got the good news this week that he will not have to undergo surgery to be reevaluated in a couple of weeks just to make sure his thumb's healing as it should. So hopefully we won't see Suggs out for too long and we can get him back on the court. Apart from that, there's not really else a lot to talk about apart from the games. Just a little shout out for our friends from the Hardwood Hoops podcast, which I went on yesterday with Liam. So I was breaking down the Magic and we were talking about this season and we were talking about Jalen Suggs and Wagner and how this young team's starting to come together. And we talked about Jamal Mosley. So you can find that link on our Twitter page. And I think I posted it on our Instagram stories as well yesterday. So if you want to go back and have a look, listen to that, then go ahead. So we've finally hit the 350 subscribers on YouTube finally this week. So a big thank you to everybody who's subscribed to the podcast, whether that's on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Paul and me and Garrett, we really appreciate everybody's support. And hopefully we can continue bringing everybody content you'll enjoy. We've got some cracking guests coming up over the next couple of weeks, Paul, haven't we?
I just find it incredible, first of all, that anybody actually wants to listen to us ramble. We started doing this so we didn't have to bore our wives talking about the Magic. And it turns out there's lots of other people in that same boat. So it's win-win. Like Mikey said, we thoroughly appreciate it. But yeah, coming up over the next few weeks, we've got Jeff Turner joining us on a day off from LA when we record next week. All the hardships of having a day off in LA. Followed by, I think we've got a blank spot that we're trying to fill, haven't we?
Yes.
And then
the
pre-Christmas episode. The pre-Christmas episode, we are joined by Dante and Galante to have a bit of fun, hopefully. I'm sure that getting them two together, it will be a good one.
Absolutely.
Chaos.
Yeah.
Chaos, I'm guessing.
The Dante, Calamity and Galante show, I think we would call that. +2. +2. So if you're already subscribed, please leave us some reviews, whether that's on Apple Podcasts or
loads are good.
As long as they're good, 5-star ratings will be great for us to help us continue to grow the podcast and interact with the show. If you're on YouTube, leave us some comments. We try, or I certainly try and reply to everybody who posts something in the comments on YouTube. But we finally hit 350. So I think are we doing it on Friday, Paul, when Jeff Turner comes on?
Yeah, let's let Jeff do it. Let's let Jeff announce the winner. So, he'll send the winner a congratulations message. He'll do that for us happily.
Absolutely. So we'll do the draw for that Jalen Suggs jersey giveaway, not Jalen Jugs. Okay, you can have a Jalen Jugs jersey. I'm sure they can do a custom one. If you really
I'm sure
wanted.
they'll change it for you if you want.
So the Magic have played 3 times this week since we last recorded on Sunday. I think it was the last time we jumped on. So starting with the, Monday's game against the Philadelphia 76ers, the Magic lost 101 to 96. It was one of those games, Paul, wasn't it, where I know we lost the game, but you don't mind losing a game where it's competitive down the stretch and we had a chance to win.
Mate, how far did we come in that game? We played some really good basketball. Yeah. We were woefully short-handed. They grit and determination all night, and that effort, wow, did it translate into a fight back? 16 points down, and we managed to take a 4-point lead in the third quarter. You know, I know that Philadelphia shifted that response back, that momentum back to them. But again, Mo leveled it. Mo Bamba leveled it with, I think it was a putback 2, something like that. Unfortunately, after that, we were just forced to play the foul game because they'd managed to get a couple of free throws and we lost a possession. It was a brilliant effort. You just cannot fault the determination that they showed. And like Franz Wagner, what can you say about it? I wrote in one of the reviews this week, I think it was the Denver game, I'm running out of superlatives about the guy. Such great basketball intelligence. Yeah. And that was the game where Jalen Suggs went down, wasn't it? That was the game where he went down injured.
Yes.
The Philadelphia game. So he ended up covering the point guard position towards the end. You know, it's not his game. That's not his game. But 27 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal. And he just showed all his quality. He was initiating the offense. Some really good shot selection. And boy, is he strong on defense. It's the positional intelligence.
Yeah.
He knows, he's got an eye. He plays beyond his years. He plays beyond his years for me. He just seems to know where he has that ability to see where the ball is going and to be getting into the right positions. He is amazing. He really is. And Mo Bamba that night, career high 6 blocks, double of 11 points and 17 rebounds. Well played. I'm quite happy to put my hands up and say that, when I was far from convinced about him, I was honest and I said I wasn't. I'll put my hands up and say the guy has shown real determination in this off season and throughout this season to be a valuable member of the team, and I genuinely hope that we put a deal in front of him that keeps him with us. I think he deserves that chance. Now there's a turnaround.
I know, and he's thoroughly deserved the credits he's getting, hasn't he?
You look at the engine that he's developed for himself, and there's points where he still gets a little bit bullied in the paint, particularly on defence. But overall, his improvement has been immeasurable. It really has been superb what he's done. Now, how much of that is down to the coach? Saying to him, "Come down to Summer League. You're not playing, but I want you to be here and part of that." I think at that point he felt valued. Yeah, he'd already put some work in, obviously, with his fitness. But I think that the coach is the catalyst behind Mo becoming such a valuable part of the team. And when he's not on the court, you do notice the difference.
I've got a question for you. So I want to know if you could pick one thing that he could improve on offensively and one thing that he can improve defensively, what would you think they would be? What would you like to see more of?
Mate, I'd actually like to see him have the ball in his hand a little bit more. I'm liking that he is putting a shot up, and his 3-point shooting has improved. But again, that is such a bonus for us. And it wasn't the place that I expected us to be getting 3 points from on a regular basis. So if he could pick that up a bit more, fantastic, because that would be a huge plus for the team where, we do shoot bricks at times. Yeah. But on defence, mate, I'm going to say again, it comes back to that little bit more physicality, that willingness to hold his ground. I mean, he keeps his arms up. It's very rare that you get that reaching foul from him or where he brings his arms down when he's challenging at the rim. But for me, he still gets moved about a little bit too easily. Mm-hmm. So that'd be it. That'd be it for me. What about yourself?
Offensively, and we saw this last night, didn't we, against Houston? I think did he hit 2 or 3 threes in that game? He's got the ability to shoot the three. I actually think to keep his game varied, I'd like to see him roll more on pick and rolls rather than just play dribble handoffs and sit out on the 3-point line. He can shoot the three, but I'd like to see him roll a little bit harder to the rim, catch the ball, and maybe go into the post a little bit more, because he's actually got a very good touch around the basket when he does get down in the post. So I would probably say I'd like to see him roll a little bit more and maybe vary that up with the 3-point shot as well. And defensively, I think he's got to rebound the ball much better. I just feel like, and he's getting better at this, I just think he needs to read the game and react to those rebounds coming off the rim. I see Cole crash the boards, especially defensively. You see Cole is thinking, I'm going after this one. Whereas Bamba seems to be, well, if the ball's falling to me, I'm going to go up and get it. But he doesn't, I'd like to see him more aggressive on the boards.
So in some ways, what you're saying, Mike, it comes down to where I was with him previously, that rather than playing on instinct, he overthinks the game. And when he thinks about it more than just, like you've just said, if the ball's coming here, I should just wait here and do this, rather than reacting and going and thinking, right, I'll go and, rather than thinking about it, just going and getting it. Yeah. It's where he pauses and thinks, and that's where his game takes a dip, when he actually pauses rather than playing on instinct. And that's always been my issue with him. Yeah. When I came back from seeing him in his rookie season, and in 2018, actually seeing him play on the court, that was the glaring thing, that when he was just playing freely and not thinking about things and just feeling the game, fantastic. The moment he had time to pause and think about the game, he took a step back. Yeah. I don't know if I've explained that well or not, but you know where I'm driving at.
I get what you're saying. Absolutely. I would also, look, he had 17 rebounds against Philly. I'd like to see that from him more often, more regularly. What's he averaging for the season? Let me just have a look. Rebounds. So he's averaging 9 a game, which is good. I think he should be
increase.
up above 10. Yeah, I think he should be above 10. And I just think if he can be that little bit more aggressive, that's certainly
he should be
help.
doing. For me, he should be doing what we came to expect with Vooch towards the end, where Vooch was a double machine. Mo has that ability to be a double in most games.
Yeah,
he should be dominating the rim without a doubt. Granted, we've got quite a few good rebounders this season. That does seem to be something that we've picked up on, where it has been a struggle previously, or more recently anyway. In the last few games, we've really been picking up on the boards, and second chance points from the offensive rebounds has been much improved. But Mo definitely should be getting more rebounds. I will give you that 100%.
So where are we in the league? So rebounding, the Magic are currently 18th. Okay.
Yep.
Defensive rebounding, we are 15th. Offensive rebounding, we are, where are we? 21st. So,
but that's a figure that's climbed.
Yeah,
I feel like has improved.
And I feel like maybe when Wendell and Mo are on the floor as a group, we rebound the ball better. But when one goes to the bench and you're playing either Wendell or Mo at the bench, I think that's where we probably get where we get out rebounded sometimes. That's just my observation. I'm not backing that up with anything, but that's just what I'm seeing.
Just what you see when you're watching. Yeah.
So the Magic fell short in that game. So just going through a few stats, I think the main thing when you look at the box score and the summary, the Magic shot 41.1% from the field against Philly. They only shot 24.2% from three, 8 for 33. You make a couple more threes, you win that game. I think it's I think it's quite simply down to that. 14 of 18 from the free throw line, and I think Wagner missed 1 or 2 down the stretch when we were chasing that game in the closing minutes. But it was a good. And when you consider, like I said, Suggs went out late in that game with his injury, and we didn't have Cole Anthony. It was a good performance. So the Magic then travel back home on Wednesday to face Denver, and Aaron Gordon's first return to the Amway Center. The Magic, as I predicted last week, went on to win this one.
What did I say when you called me about it?
Go on.
When I was sat watching it, and we're into the last couple of seconds, and it's clear that this is our game, I looked at my wife, who was sat across the room from me, and I went, Mikey is going to be absolutely unbearable on the pod now. He's got this one right. You've had your say, haven't you? You've had your say in our conversations. That, God, in fact, what was the first text I got after the game? Effing called it.
Yes, I did. I did indeed. And after the first quarter, getting out, 29-15 in the first.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I'm out on this one. But I think they shot over 60% from the field in the second, third, and fourth quarters and completely turned the game on its head. Cole Anthony, 24 points, along with, I'm trying to find the stats now, 8 rebounds.
He's got 8 rebounds, 7 assists, mate.
Yeah. Franz Wagner, 15 points with 5 assists, 3 steals. Terrence Ross is having a bit of an uptick.
And a block in there as well, mate. Franz picked up a block as well.
And that was the big one on Jokic down the stretch.
Yeah.
In the closing minutes. I think, was that on the possession straight after he had the step back 3?
It was very close by. I'm not going to say that it was, because I'm not 100% sure, but it was very nearby. But mate, can we just talk about how good Wendell played?
Yes, absolutely.
Wendell, my God. He was up against Nikola Jokic, and he did that to him. He kept him really quiet. I know Jokic got points and whatever, but he really gave him a hard night. Yep. And then 16 points in the second half he scored as well.
Yep.
There was 16 of his 18 came in the second half. Wendell was brilliant. Really was.
And I think the possession that probably summed up his performance was the one down the stretch where he was guarding Jokic. Jokic tried making a move on him, Wendell was playing him physically and then backed off and made him travel, didn't he? Took a few extra steps, turned the ball over, and then I think we went down the other end and scored then.
Wait, how did you feel about Gary Harris in that game?
I think he's playing pretty well with this starting group at the moment. I think we've all been... we have to be pleased with what productivity he's given this starting group at the moment, because he was one of the players we were disappointed with to start the season. His three balls starting to drop now, and I think you can see that in his confidence. He's playing aggressively. He was playing really hard aggressively on the defensive end. He was going up against AG down the stretch when he was trying to handle the ball.
3 steals in the game.
Yeah, he's been really good. Denver. And I think,
thought he played a really good game. I'm not convinced we would have won without some of his effort. I think, again, it was one of them performances where not everything that he did showed up on the box score.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good positioning that was forcing, like you say, Aaron Gordon to have to move the ball elsewhere rather than being able to go directly drive at the basket or whatever. I think Gary Harris had a really big effect on that game that probably doesn't show up elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously we saw it was Cole's first return, his first game back. Close to a triple-double in his first return. I'm
going to say, we can't ignore Cole on this one, can we?
No. We're just falling in love with him more and more every game he plays at the moment. And he actually had a subdued post-game interview afterwards, which I think we're all a little bit shocked by. But no, he was fantastic down the stretch.
Edge of your seat waiting for it. Come on, what are we getting? Yeah, it was good. Yeah, we played good team performance. We played hard. Man, mate, I just love the guy. His energy for that team is, again, it's one of them things that you can't put a monetary value on. He comes on, he brings the confidence, he brings the belief, and he wants everybody to do well. He wants it to be. It's not about him; it's about the team. I genuinely believe that anytime he does an interview, he doesn't talk about his own game. He does talk about everybody else. He does see it as a team performance. You can't fault or dislike a guy for that.
No.
And what he brought in that second half was phenomenal. The effort, the improved shooting, because let's be fair, his shooting in the first half was not good. But I know that you and I have spoke about this, but holding your nerve for those 2 free throws at the end of the game, it's not a position he's been in that often within his career so far. So again, it was a real positive learning curve that he can stand there. Okay, this is my responsibility to take this for the team. And you want a guy like that to be the person that's taking those free throws in that position to have been fouled and be put on the line, because he's got a confidence and a belief in his own ability. And he held his nerve and nailed both to give us that 2-possession lead that we needed to see us through. I just thought Cole was fantastic. Really brilliant.
Got ice in his veins, Paul.
Oh, mate. Absolutely. Let's hope we see it one day in a deep playoff run. That's something to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. And his dad's starting to become a fan favourite on Twitter. He's been
is he ever?
He's been coming up with some great tweets this week. He's had last night, Franz Wagner's a future All-Star. He was actually breaking down Cole as a prospect going into the draft, and the reason why he agreed that he was a 15th overall pick, and he shouldn't have been higher based on his college career and what he'd done there. But I think the tweet that everybody got excited about, hey, we are Magic. What can I say? The Anthony's are all in on the Magic.
Yeah.
So even they're excited, which is really good to see. And so I've got one more question for you on Cole. Then is he the if we've got an all-star, a future all-star on this team, is he the one?
Yep. Nothing more.
Would you put anybody else in that category right now? Not as an all-star now, but who you think's going to become an all-star?
I think Franz has easily got the potential.
Yeah.
Didn't expect to be saying that at the start of the season. And I think Jalen potentially. I'm not. Okay, we're not. I take it we're not talking about Jonathan Isaac and Markel in this conversation.
It's hypothetical.
Jalen has the tools to do it.
Yeah.
He needs the time to learn the position. And the NBA is different to playing in college. Okay, there's some guys who hit the floor running. Jalen hasn't. I don't think that there's been the need for the panic that we've seen, in some fan forums. He hasn't found his offensive game yet, though he is starting to improve it. He is scoring double figures on a regular basis.
Yeah,
his defense is brilliant, and once he gets, I think it was Jeff Turner last night who made the comment that there's young guys making young guy mistakes in respect of a turnover that Houston had. That's Jalen at the moment.
Yeah.
That's Jalen at the moment. No need to panic. Let the guy learn. That's what this season is. If we get a win, we get a win. If we get a loss, no need to get upset about it. It's all about the development. And when we are seeing the performances that we're seeing over the last 3 games, you've got to live with that and you've got to be happy with that.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
But mate, Cole is definitely for me a all-star in the making.
And he's going to be in the most improved player conversation this year, or he certainly has to be. Certainly has to be.
Has to be in that. Mate, what about yourself then? What would your opinion be on that question?
On the all-star?
Yeah.
Yeah, Cole's, I can't see anybody but Cole at the moment. I mean, the jump that he's taken from year 1 to year 2, and I said this on the Hardwood Hoops podcast, but I'm going to repeat it here. But you think year 1, he's thrown into the lion's den.
Yep.
He's got a massive amount of responsibility early in the season where Fultz goes down with that injury. And you're asking a rookie point guard to run the show for a team that wanted to get back to the playoffs at the start of last season. And then obviously injuries happened and everything unraveled and all fallen apart. And he had his ups and downs. We saw those little glimpses from him last year. We saw obviously the 2-game winners. We had those glimpses from what he can do. But to go from that to already averaging 20 points a game, and it's not even the points because he is a scorer. He's a natural born scorer. He's aggressive that side, but it's things like the rebounding that I've been really impressed with. And like last night against the Rockets, which we'll talk about in a minute, putting his body on the line and taking blocks and taking charges. And he's not afraid to put him, he's not afraid to do a bit of everything. And he sets the tone for how this team plays. And when he hasn't played, and we saw that with the 7 games he was out injured, you see the drop in performance and the turnovers are increasing. And he helps
the beating
everybody.
Half of the team, mate.
Exactly. He really is. And look, these things happen for a reason. I always say that in life. Everything happens for a reason. And he's got lucky. And Greg Anthony tweeted this, that he didn't get down on himself when everybody got excited that the Magic drafted another guard with Jalen Suggs, when you've already got Fultz and people are starting to talk about Cole as a 6th man. Now, you can't put him in that conversation anymore. Cole's got, we say this in football, Paul, don't we? Like when a player's got the jersey, once you've got that jersey, you've earned that right. You've earned that right to wear that jersey. It's up to other people then to match that and take it off of you. So for me,
absolutely,
Cole Anthony right now is fully fully healthy, once this roster is fully healthy, for me right now, Cole Anthony is the starting point guard for the Magic. And if Fultz comes back, yeah, you could play the two of them side by side, but I think Cole should be given even more responsibility because right now he deserves that with the way he's playing. And obviously, like I said, he's been lucky. He's been lucky with the fact that Fultz is injured, and he's had that opportunity to flourish. Suggs is obviously sitting out even more, so Anthony's having to take that even more responsibility on both ends at the moment. So, yeah, keep feeding Cole.
Well, we're no doubt going to talk about taking responsibility in a moment on when we come to the Houston game.
Well,
that was the example of it. Yeah,
let's get into it. So
that final shot was the example of that.
Exactly. So on Friday, the Magic then started a 5-game West Coast road trip, starting with the Houston Rockets. The Magic went on to lose 118 to 116. I would say would you say it's a pretty sloppy game? Obviously, the Magic had 18 turnovers, which was a massive reason why we lost this game. Houston took a 9-point lead. We brought that back. We built a 9-point lead. I think that was in the third quarter. That disappeared. And then it was very tight going down the stretch. And then I think it was probably about the 8-9 minute mark in the fourth quarter. Houston then started to take over and they built I think it was a 13-point lead it got up to.
Yeah, it was.
With about 4 minutes to go. And then the Magic started to, I think we called a timeout, settled down. And then we really got ourselves going. We were rebounding the ball. We were getting stops, which was something we weren't getting earlier in the game. And yeah, Cole Anthony, I can't remember how many points in the fourth quarter. I think it was 10 or 11 in the fourth quarter. Wendell was big on the boards. Mo had a put-back dunk to tie that game up. And then down the stretch, Eric Gordon made a 2 with, I think, 1.3 seconds remaining.
Beautiful move.
It was. Yeah.
Really good move. Really good move. And you really couldn't fault the defence that he was put up against. The defensive position that the guys got themselves into. It was just a good play. It was a good veteran play.
Yeah. That possession, I might have to watch it back. And people can correct me if I think I'm wrong, but I'm just picturing it now. But he turned the corner. He's driving into the paint. Wendell's had to turn his body and didn't really get into a position where he could block the shot or challenge it very well. But if I remember rightly, Mo was pretty close to Wendell, and that's the sort of possession that I'd like to see. Again, he might have gone and challenged a shot and left somebody wide open, so I can't remember, but. That's where I'd like to see Mo think, right, you are not coming in here and scoring past me and Wendell. Like, do you know what I mean?
It was that Euro step that did it.
Yeah.
He was driving into the body and then just took the little Euro step to his right-hand side that just created that not minor space to put a really good shot up. I didn't think there was a deal wrong with the defence, but I'm not going to pretend I'm any sort of expert on, how people should be defending the ball.
And look, we can. What was it? 18 turnovers in the game. Look, when you score 116, you've got to come out of the win. When you're the Magic, when you're scoring 116, and we went through our sloppy phases where defensively we were giving up too much. But hey, Eric Gordon scored the 2, went down the other end, called a timeout, and then. Franz on the inbound pass got the ball to Cole Anthony, who put up a 3, and I think it was just short. And the Magic and Cole Anthony missed the game winner. But I'd give him that shot every single time. Every single time.
I think I put it to you in a text message today that when you looked at that, there's Jalen Suggs coming onto the court. There's RJ Hampton coming onto the court. And the look in their face was, that's dropping.
Yeah. Wendell
had turned away as if to say, yes, get in. Franz was ready to celebrate. I think everybody felt when that left his hand that was true, and he'd shot that straight and it just got a bit of rim. It was unlucky. I thought it was going in. I really thought it was going in.
And
I really did.
And we were that close. We'll go on to predictions shortly.
Yeah, you were, mate. You were very close.
But my prediction and yours and G's this week literally come down to that Cole Anthony shot this week.
Yeah.
I'm
going to just mention him, mate. How good was Garrison Matthews for them?
Yeah, on a two-way deal.
Some good shooting. And
aggressive, get to the basket.
I know by the end, Christian would have ended up with around 20 points. But again, I did feel that our defence had kept him very, very quiet. They'd given him such a hard game. He had to work for those points. Wendell did a really good job on them. Again, it's been his week for this.
And there was a possession, I think it was in the fourth quarter, and Wendell was guarding him in the corner. And you're just thinking, you are not getting past Wendell. And then he pulled up and hit a three. And it's like, that was the only shot he was going to get against Wendell, because Wendell managed to keep him at the post, and he moves his feet really well, doesn't he? For a big guy. But yeah,
and of course, DJ had to come back and haunt us a bit.
Yeah, he played his part in the fourth quarter, didn't he?
Did.
More with his playmaking, more than his shooting, but he made a big three down the stretch.
Yep.
But disappointing.
That situation with John Wall is a weird one.
Yeah, what was it? 44 million he's getting paid this year, 47 next year. And they've said, you're not playing. You can travel with the team, you can practice, but you're not playing. Like, that's just, I mean, there's worse ways to earn 44 million in there this year.
Yeah, it's a hardship. I think I could manage just. I could go with it just. But mate, it makes no sense. You know, you've got, the guy's got great experience. Why have him? If you don't, move him on. Move him on if you don't want to use him. That's the problem,
Paul. I don't think he's tradable. Like you got to think somebody is earning that amount of money, and there's been a few examples of this, and I can't think of any off the top of my head, that players that sign the Supermax contracts, and John Wall was one of them, haven't always worked out for the teams that are thinking, right, we can retain those players we drafted, because sometimes they've haunted teams with the amount of money they've committed to them. And yeah, it is an odd one, but
there are ways though, aren't there, of moving somebody and you're not having to pay the whole wage. You're not having to pay the whole 44 million, but they may be paying 22 million, 30 million of it, and the other team, but at least he's off your books and you've got a little bit of leeway. But
if John Wall was on the Magic, I'd probably want them to do the same thing. And people, you can.
Oh, I agree.
Because if you want to move John Wall, you are not getting anything of any significance in return. In fact, you're likely going to have to give up draft picks or something significant for a team to absorb that sort of salary and that sort of contract, which for a rebuilding team in Houston's position, they don't want to get rid of draft picks. If anything, they want to keep them. So they're just going, right, we're just going to swallow this money for 2 years and then be done with him. And then we can have a boatload of cash when that money comes off their books. And they're probably going to have another draft pick this year to add with Jalen Green. And that's weird as well, isn't it? How well they're playing. Jalen Green isn't even fit. He's not even healthy and suiting up for them.
And his absence has coincided with them going on this nice run.
Yeah, 5-game win streak, I think it is now.
Yeah. His absence has coincided with that, and the guy was playing really well. So whether or not they've got a better balance, I've not looked at what their previous starting lineups were when he was playing, but this one that they started last night seemed a nice balance. But then again, I think our starting unit has got a nice balance. It's when we start having to bring people off,
yes,
and the bench come on, that we always seem to take that dip, and that's where once we start getting people back, we should be much improved.
And this and plus minus doesn't always tell the true story, but when you look at the starters last night against Houston, you got Cole Anthony was +3, Gary Harris +18, Bamba +11. Wendell +8, Wagner was -1, so that's pretty even. Terence Ross, who actually had a really, really good game, 18 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, steal, went 6 of 12 from the field, 5 from 5 from the free throw line, and he was minus 13. Chuma minus 13, Mo Wagner minus 10, RJ minus 7. So again, that paints a pretty good picture that, like you said, when we break the starting lineup, then that's when we go through those 5-6 minute stages where we're struggling to score, we're not rebounding properly, we're giving away silly fouls. I noticed that quite a lot. Mo Wagner is guilty of that a little bit now and then.
It was against Denver, wasn't it? That Jeff Turner said, "Has Mo ever scored a basket where he doesn't believe he's been fouled?" He appeals everything. I do agree with you. He does make some questionable decisions. I think it's that he loves to get under people's skin. It's not always beneficial to the team.
Yeah, he's sometimes too fired up, isn't he? Yeah.
We do need to see Chuma get going. He's not got it going yet offensively. He needs to see one game where everything goes through the hoop. He needs something to get him going.
And I feel like, do you feel like when we get Fultz back and you got players that can act, because we're just relying on Cole really to play make right now. So if you can add Fultz back into that might open up the door for somebody like Chuma. But I thought he played all right last night. He had a couple of possessions where I think he grabbed a rebound, didn't even bother looking at anybody else, just ran straight down the floor, got into the post. And I think he got fouled and went to the free throw line. And but he was 4 of 8
under the belt.
4 of 8 from last night, and he shot a 3 as well. So look, you think he didn't have a training camp?
Absolutely.
Chuma didn't have a training camp, and what did he miss? The first 10 games of the season, 5-10 games of the season.
That nature, mate. Yeah.
So he's having to get himself up to pace with game time rather than practice, which the team aren't getting a lot of this season. So it's going to take time. And look, and this is a bit of a pre-warning for when Fultz comes back as well, and JI eventually, that just because they suit back up, they're not going to look like the players we remember them to be from day one. It's going to take time to get their legs back under them and get fit and get healthy and get their conditioning back up.
When you think of the last time that Jonathan Isaac played, and also it's true of Markel, the last time that both of them played, that starting unit that they played with looks very, very different to what it is now. They have to develop a relationship on court with the guys that are holding those shirts. None of them have played with Cole. None of them have played. Oh, sorry, Markel's played with Cole. I apologise. But that unit is. None of them have played with Wendell.
Yeah.
Neither of them have played with Franz. You've got to expect that there is going to be some, possibly a backward step even, as players get used to one another. Because we've said it before, and your commentators always draw reference to it. It's one thing having training; it's entirely another thing playing a live game in the heat of battle and finding those positions and sets that work, but it's actually having the confidence of playing them and getting them executed. That's going to take a few weeks to get to a position where we're thinking, this is starting to look good. I agree with you entirely that you can't expect it instantly.
No. And then on top of that, you then got back-to-backs, 3 games in 4 nights. All those sorts of things will creep in later on in the season.
Which you've got to expect, again, minutes restrictions. Are we going to see both of those playing back-to-backs? No. Is it going to be that they have one game, they play one night and not the second night?
I think that's pretty likely. I think both. They'll be on a minutes restriction.
Yep.
And it'll probably be something really, really low, like 10, 15 minutes, I reckon, to start off with. Gradually build that back up. There'll be no back-to-backs. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't even do that at all this season, back-to-backs, and just really gently ease them back in this year, get them back on the court and playing, but focus towards the summer that they can really ramp up their conditioning, ready to hit the ground running next season. Because it's going to take them a year to get back up to speed.
I think it's still very hard to judge where we are going to be by the end of the season. I think it's really difficult still because you don't know whether we expect that both will be playing by that point. We don't know whether they will or not. All you can hope for is now that we start to see that development with those two guys coming into the unit when they do join us, that we are seeing from the starting five that we have on a regular basis. It's very difficult to know what we have, and we can get it. Let's get excited and enjoy the Denver result. Yeah. Let's enjoy the performance against Houston and Philadelphia, even for the mistakes that there were, because we are seeing development. It's damn sight better than watching what we saw against Milwaukee.
So I've got one more question before we go on to the week ahead and predictions. So Liam asked me this on the Hardwood Hoops podcast last night, and this is hypothetical. Okay. It's all fun. Let's not take this seriously. But he asked me the question: if you could pick right now 4 players that this team will continue to build around, only 4, which 4 would you pick? And to me, it's really difficult because I'd say there was probably 8. There's probably 7 or 8 there. But if you could narrow it down to your top 4, doesn't have to be in order, but
Cole,
yeah, no brainer.
Wendell,
okay,
Franz. God. See, do I take Jalen? Do I take Markel? I've not mentioned Jonathan Isaac. God, that's hard.
I'm telling you. And then, do you know what I mean? It's not an easy question.
You know, especially as I've just said, I believe that we should be giving Mo Bamba a chance as well. I'm sort of going back on my word here.
You got all that untapped potential of RJ Hampton. Obviously, he's not there yet, but he's another one.
Jonathan, I'm not going to put Jonathan Isaac in there because at this moment there's still too many doubts about injury. Mm-hmm. He's been very unfortunate in his career with the injuries he's suffered. The injury that he's suffered here, the left knee ACL injury, we don't know if he's going to come back that same player. If he does, then he'd be straight in there. But as there's that doubt, I'm not going to pick him at this moment.
It's a difficult question.
Now I'm between Markel and Jalen. It's a hard one, that is.
See, that wasn't my that wasn't the two that I was and ahhing over. But I'm going to wait till you've given your answers before I let you know mine.
I'm going to go. I was going to say Jalen. And as I got my hand down there, I went to Markel. I really can't pick between them. It's a toss of a coin. Markel.
Okay. Well, I went Jalen. So Cole, no brainer. Franz, no brainer. I went Jalen purely because you've just drafted him. Yeah. And the only reason I've gone with Jalen over Markel is purely down to the fact that he's coming off an ACL. He's got question marks around, is he going to be... And I think he will. And that's just a guess. Like, I don't know. I've got no inside information, but that's just a guess. But you're hoping he's going to come back and be the player that we saw at the beginning of last year.
Same argument I had with Jonathan Knight, let's be fair.
Exactly. You've still got the question marks about can Fultz shoot the three. The rest
I'm
of
not
his
worried
game,
about him shooting the three.
No, I'm not. But
I'm not worried about him shooting the three because when you've got his ability to drive and pass, he can finish at the rim.
Yeah.
When you've got that ability, he's going to create opportunities for others by that drive. He's going to collapse the defense. So I'm not worried about him being your 3-point threat. We need others to be a 3-point threat, not necessarily Markel for me.
So
nice to have in his box.
Yeah, absolutely. Purely down to the fact that they're coming off ACLs and you got all those question marks. That's why I went with those. And I was actually tossing up the what's the word? I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. Just trying to decide whether it's Wendell or Mo for me, because if you're playing Cole, if you've got Suggs, there's your backcourt. I don't really see why you need to add Fultz into that, because you just, again, it's hypothetical. Like it's nothing serious. You got Franz playing the three. To me, then you want a big to then sort of move forwards with, and Wendell for me has just been solid. But we said this last week. The difference is Mo can do things physically that Wendell cannot because of his length and his size. But Wendell's just solid, and I absolutely love the kid. I love the physicality he plays with. I love his rebounding. He is not afraid to mix up with. Go on.
Aside from Jalen and Markel, we went the same then, I'll tell you. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So Wendell, Cole, Franz, and Jalen would be my four. But that doesn't take away the fact that we love Fultz. We love Isaac. Isaac's been my favorite player for 3 or 4 years. And look, we're moving forwards with all of them, aren't we? It was just, I just thought I'd ask you the question and see if you come up with some answers that Liam asked. So
hey, let's ask others. We want others to tell us their four.
Put them in the comments below and let us know your four. Absolutely. Okay, so quick shameless plug. So support today's episode and visit the NBA Store EU and get your hands on the brand new Orlando Magic Nike City Edition jersey, which is available with custom printing. And you can also ship it internationally as well. Use our affiliate link in the description of the podcast and use our discount code MAGICUK10 at the checkout for 10% off your order. Or you can use one of the discount codes live on the website. Please note some exclusions may apply. Okay, so on to the week ahead and predictions. So last week, you right there, Paul?
Yes, mate. Yeah, just get me back comfy.
You get comfy, pal. And you'd be more comfy.
Man.
You poor sod.
54.
Oh, let's get the violin out. Hold on. Play that little world's smallest violin. So last week, you and Mr. G went 1 and 2. I went the optimistic route and went 2 and 1. The Magic obviously went 1 and 2, losing to the Sixers and the Rockets. So up to date, Geraint is now 4 and 2. Paul is 3 and 3, and I'm holding the wooden spoon at the moment at 2 and 4. So my optimism ain't doing me any favors at the moment. So maybe I'll have to go the other way.
Hollow victory, mate, with getting the wrong teams, though. Hollow victory.
Well, like I said, if Cole buried that 3 last night, I'd be sitting there very glum.
You'd have been 100% on, mate. I do think that we all have a thing where if you get, as with Super 6, if you get 5 points for getting it absolutely right, as opposed to just predicting the correct direction.
Maybe. It's all right. It's all good fun. It's all a bit of banter.
It's all good.
Absolutely. So we're recording our next episode on Friday, the 10th of December, where we will be joined by Magic color commentator Jeff Turner for a second appearance on the podcast. So I can't remember when Jeff last joined us. I want to say it was last year. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's a good while back now.
But Jeff's, like Paul said earlier, he's going to be joining us whilst he's on the road trip. I think he's going to be in Los Angeles on his day off, you said, didn't you?
Yeah.
So the Magic played twice before Friday. On Monday, the Magic travel to Golden State to face the Warriors, which is a 3 a.m. tip-off. So the Warriors currently, at the moment, are coming off. They beat Phoenix last night. I was watching the highlights to that this morning. They have a league best. They're 19-3. They just snapped the Phoenix Suns' 18-game win streak. Yeah. I don't think Devin Booker was playing in that game, so they were missing him, which was obviously going to play a part as well. But the Warriors have been fantastic. Do you know what? It's actually really nice because they went through this stage of being really disliked, the Warriors, especially when KD went there. But I think it's good for the league when the Warriors are doing well and Steph's right up there playing as well as he is at the moment. And I know phenomenal. you love Steph. So
phenomenal the man is. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I would pay obscene money to watch him play basketball in person.
Well, let's hope when we go next year, because we're planning on going out in October, November at some point. You've already booked.
We're booked. Yeah.
But hopefully we might play the Warriors in one of those games when we head out there. So that'd be really good to see. So so we've got the Warriors on Monday. They're 19-3. They are 8-2 in their last 10. They're averaging 113.4 points per game, and they're only conceding 100.3. So the Warriors is going to be a tough game. Yeah. On Monday.
Anything other than a battering, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
So if we can be competitive, I'm happy with that one.
If we can continue this little run that we're on of playing in competitive games, great. But I'll take the win if it's there.
Absolutely.
So, and then on Wednesday, the Magic then travel to Sacramento to face the Kings, or the Queens, as some people call them. That's also a 3 a.m. tip-off. Sacramento are 9-14. They're sat 11th in the Western Conference. They're 4-6 in the last 10. They're averaging 110 points per game, conceding 113 points per game. That's why they're where they are. At home, they're only 3-8. Yeah. So that's an interesting stat. So they're 7-11. It'd be without looking and breaking down what their season's been like so far. They're 7-11 in the West. So they played 18 games. So what's that? 2/3 of the games they've already played are against Western Conference teams. So and there's a lot of deep teams out West. So it might still be a challenge. They're right on the edge of the play-in tournament spots at the moment. So
I think that's one that we can take. Mate, I
absolutely agree. I absolutely agree.
We've won a couple of times. We've won our last 2 visits there.
Have we? Okay.
Yeah, we've won the last 2 visits there. February last year, 123 to 112 we won, and in January 2020, 114 to 112 we won. They're the last 2 visits that we've had. At the minute, we've won the last one, and they won in Orlando last season. Split it 1-1.
They've got 2 players out hurt at the moment. One's Maurice Harkless, ex-Magic player, who didn't play on Saturday. He will not play. It's Saturday today. What am I on about?
Saturday.
So he's not playing tonight when they face the Clippers. And Harrison Barnes, who's been out with a foot injury, has been downgraded to doubtful for tonight's game against the Clippers. So they might be back on Wednesday. I'm not sure what the injuries are. It just says knee and foot, but a couple of fairly important rotation players for them. So definitely winnable. So predictions then. So Garrett and Connell, we're going to include Connell in these now every week. They've both gone 1-1, and they've said we'll beat the Kings. Are you joining? Are you going to be joining them, Paul?
Hey, that's horrible, isn't it? Because I've either got to go 2-0, which is not going to happen, or I've got to go 0-2, and I don't want to be Mr. Pessimistic. because I genuinely do believe that we can beat the Kings. But in the spirit of keeping this going, let's get 0-2. We lose. We lose both.
Oh, 0-2.
Yeah. I'm only going for the league, mate.
You're
Trying to get the win.
Well, I'm going to join you. We're going to...
Mikey!
You and me are going to... we've got to catch Geraint up, haven't we? So we've got to create some separation from G. So there's a little bit more to just guessing this week. We got to either Geraint's going to extend the lead this week to 5-2, and you and me are going to have losing records.
Of course, we could all be wrong, mate, and we sweep both games.
That'd be fantastic. Can you imagine going and beating the Warriors? That'd be wicked, wouldn't it? But
yeah,
I just cannot see that.
No,
just cannot see that.
As I said, anything other than a destruction, I'll be happy. I wanted to see competitive. That's what I want from that game.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to go 0-2 as well. So sorry if you're watching. We're putting a downer on the week already, but yeah, we can't let G run away with our predictions this season. So we've got to go a bit different, haven't we? Hey,
Wait, it's got to be done. It's got to be done. I didn't play it tactical last season. I ended up with the wooden spoon, so I'm going for it this year.
And I've been positive this week, or fairly positive for most of the weeks, and it's not working.
That was my downfall last year, mate. That was the problem. I kept saying that we were going to get results, that we were going to turn that corner. Didn't happen.
But hey, we'll see. Like I said, let's have 2 more competitive games this week, and let's see.
I think the Kings will be an entertaining one.
Yeah,
I think that could be an entertaining game. You look at the figures that they're scoring and that they're conceding. It could be an entertaining game. I really do think that one. It's going to. I think that one's going to be a good watch.
And no matter what the record is this week, and we are 5-19, 5-19 in the East with 14th at the moment. We are not the Oklahoma City Thunder.
There's always a silver lining, and that is very definitely a silver lining. That was embarrassing.
A 73-point loss against the Memphis Grizzlies is...
How's it happen?
How'd you lose by 73? Like...
It's got... it was I've not watched the game.
I just don't know what to say.
I've got no idea as to... Did they not... were they riddled with injuries? Did they not bother trying? Did the Grizzlies not withdraw the star men and just play the whole game? And I've got no idea, because that is just such an embarrassing result.
What was the stat?
You normally get 30 points up, and you see, like we had against Milwaukee.
Yeah,
they got that separation, and you see Drew Holiday and Giannis and Chris Middleton sitting down. Did that not happen? Or did they just think we're out to embarrass you here? Was there some gripe? I don't know. I've got no idea as to what, if there was a history there or what. And I've not seen the game.
Memphis scored more points in the second half than the Thunder scored the entire game. It's horrible.
It's mind-boggling.
31 points in the first, 41, 41, and 39 in the fourth. It's just,
it's mind-boggling, mate.
What does that do? Like, this is why I'm so upbeat and excited about this Magic group, because we've had a few down games, and we've had games where we've been blown out, and our enthusiasm's been sucked out of us for a few games, but. Like I said, you got players there you can be excited about, and Cole's obviously right up there, and we've already talked about that. But like losing can become a culture. Losing can be a really bad habit. That, like, they've got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's a very, very, very good guard.
Yeah,
but and you might have somebody else on the roster you can build with, but you've got to break that culture of losing. Like, and this is kind of goes, and I know Philip Rossman-Wright has taken a lot of heat about this the last couple of seasons. Some of it some of it has been uncalled for, but he's always said like the Magic should be going out to win games. That like you don't step out on the floor to lose games. You go out there to win, regardless of how bad your injuries are or whatever else is going on. But you go out there to win games, and even if you fall short, you fall short. And if you manage to pick up some wins, then that helps development because players are learning how to win games and close out games. And we've started to see that this week, like on Monday against Philly. You've seen, right, we failed to close that game out down the stretch and take that opportunity when we took the lead. We couldn't hold on to it. Denver, we fought back after a double-digit lead, and you get back into the game, and then you close the game out. And then obviously Friday,
we said it. Do you know what I mean? In the previous podcast, that even when there's mistakes, there is a positive learning to come from those mistakes.
Yes,
and that's what this season is. Let's not get down about it. If you expected anything else from this season, then I don't quite know where you were looking, because this season has always been about, there were going to be some blowout defeats. There's going to be some nice, enjoyable victories. And there are going to be a lot of close games, because this team have a spirit. They have a spirit and they don't want to get beaten. But I'm not going to lie. I probably expected another couple of wins by this point. The record is probably a little bit worse than I believe, but we have a greater injury issue than I expected. I didn't think that we'd be reporting about, Jalen being out for a period of time, that we lost Cole Anthony for a significant number of games, 7 games, wasn't it? I wasn't expecting that to happen as well. I know that there's always going to be the risk that players are going to go down injured, but you then lose Mo Bamba to back spasms, you lose Gary Harris, you lose Terence Ross to back spasms. They have had an effect, because it has really affected the amount of playing time that groups that you want to be playing together have had. So perhaps my expectations were a little bit rosy, but I did expect that it was going to be a tough road where we were watching a lot of losses. I was hoping that we would be entertaining and competitive in those losses. And that's what we've seen in this last week. So I'm all good with that.
Good man. Anything else you want to talk about this week before we jump off?
All good here, mate.
We said this would be a short episode. We've been on for over an hour. So
then we've just been rambling as usual.
Exactly.
In fact, this is what you get on a daily basis between me and Mikey. There's just been a lot less swearing.
Yeah. We try and keep it clean. So never mind. Good stuff. So hopefully we have another good week, and this road trip isn't as bad as we're all kind of expected with, because after this we've got the Lakers, the Clippers, and who's the other team? No, that's it. And then we're home again.
Yeah, that's it.
And then we're home.
Home for Atlanta.
Absolutely. Okay. So thank you as always for watching and listening. Please subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review, which helps us continue to grow. For the latest news, visit our website, orlandomagicuk.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. You can also now find us on TikTok. Paul is going to be posting a flossing video on TikTok very soon. He said to me, "Oh, come on.
Not a chance that I'm going anywhere near that. I've got no idea with it. Mate, I don't understand Instagram, so how the hell am I going to understand
Paul,
TikTok?
I don't understand TikTok either. That's why we've got
Thank God we've got Connell.
Connell, mate, is our saviour. Mate, if you do a flossing video, I'll do a flossing video. I think Connell and G should get involved as well. So
you've got a flossing video of me already.
Yeah, no, I've got to find it though. In fact,
I would love to say that the required a load of beer for me to do it. He didn't.
No, you were sober. You were very sober.
It's frightening while I put myself through.
Good stuff. So from Paul and I, until Friday on our next episode, go Magic.